Hello, everyone, and welcome to the SourceForge podcast. Thank you for joining us today. I'm your host, Bo Hamilton, senior editor and multimedia producer here at SourceForge, the world's most visited software comparison site where B2B software buyers compare and find business software solutions. Now, if you've ever struggled with crafting clear, compelling business presentations or just spent hours tweaking slides to get them just right, you're not alone. It's something that I often struggle with because it's just so important to get the right ideas communicated in the right way to our clients, as this form of communication can really make or break decisions. The problem is, most of us aren't trained in crafting really powerful business presentations. We've all sort of dabbled with Microsoft PowerPoint and Google Slides, but these aren't very friendly for those in the business world practicing like brand consistency and structured storytelling. And that's where today's guest comes in. Prezent AI is revolutionizing the way businesses create and deliver business presentations with its AI-powered platform. It's designed to help teams communicate more effectively, stay on brand, and save time with smart automation and storytelling tools. So joining us today to talk more about the company is Maeva Riley, VP of Marketing at Prezent AI. Maeva, welcome to the podcast. Glad you can join us.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Of course, yeah. Can you just start by giving us a high-level overview of Prezent and sort of talk about some of the problems that you were trying to solve when you first started the company?
Sure. Yeah. So really it started a couple years back. Well, actually many years back as a child, our CEO, Rajat, he overcame a stutter and speech impediment when he was younger. And that was really from the help of a lot of mentors. And then he later realized actually many people struggle with communication, myself included, did Toastmasters. I've tried many different things. So over the years, he really identified that individuals, like you kind of said as you opened, individuals really struggle with empathizing with different audiences, figuring out how to structure their thoughts, communicating in different non-primary languages. There's kind of a whole host of things that people can kind of struggle with. He also identified that organizations face issues with standardization, consistency, and really scalable ways to have training around communication. And alongside that, leaders really lack scalable training models. And the final piece is really that agencies, that if they can access agencies from their businesses, they're often really expensive, they're slow, and often not a great outcome. So those all kind of were the initial realizations that created the brainchild that is Prezent today.
Okay, interesting. Now I know you guys are an AI company first and foremost. I know you lean heavily into automations and just the branding sort of being an AI company. What elements of AI are actually baked into your product, and how would you say it's unique in the market? Like, do you see other companies offering similar features or capabilities?
Yeah, so I guess first answer is I definitely think it's unique. But really, what we're doing is we're going beyond just crafting slides. So, as I mentioned, what we're really doing is we're grasping industry nuances, we're weaving compelling stories, and we're kind of elevating business communication as a whole. And the AI that powers our software is something called Astrid. And Astrid is the AI that really powers our software. And it's the first of its kind contextually intelligent AI. And what that means is that we've custom built the AI with something called industry-based specialized presentation models. I don't want to lose you guys here yet, but what that means is that we're incorporating industry specific slide templates, ways that industries actually communicate. So, like, let's take biopharma, for example. Biopharma has very specific ways of building and structuring slides, and we incorporate all those insights and actually build those into our models. So, that in combination with then inputs from our clients and our customers, everything from company branding, team information, and then individual personalization helps make sure that the output of our software is completely tailored to that individual in that company. So I can go into details on some of that AI, but really it is the first of its kind, and we're solving multiple elements, not just kind of pushing out simple slides.
Interesting. Yeah, I was that actually answered my follow-up question, which was what kind of AI architecture you're using, right? Because you know, I know how resource intensive it is to develop your own sort of AI model. I imagine I figured you were maybe utilizing an existing model or yeah, a different a company that already is present in the marketplace. You mentioned Astrid. This is something that you were utilizing since day one. I take it.
Oh, I'd say we've evolved the product over time. So, yeah, not from day one, March 2021 when we were founded, but yeah, within the last year, we've really provided a lot of improvements and enhancements to our AI and now kind of have, I would say, a product that we're really proud of because it really is something where you can go in and input a prompt, something into a prompt, whether it's like couple of words or it's updated or uploaded files, and the outcome or the output is a polished, relevant deck within seconds.
Okay. Yeah, I imagine it's just always constantly being updated and tweaked and changed. And that's actually, I'm going to ask you kind of about the emerging technology, what's coming in the next, few months or few years later on in this interview. But I want to kind of circle back around and talk about some of your branding, your key features of your product. In my introduction, I mentioned brand consistency. So first of all, I'm curious, maybe you can help explain why it's so important for presentations to be 100% on brand. Like, why does that matter so much?
Yeah, it's a good question. I guess as a marketer, it's very near and dear to my heart. But really, the simplest way to think about it is a brand is the mirror of your company. So it reflects your identity. It helps build trust with your clients and consumers. And so, if there's inconsistencies in how you're pushing that brand out, whether that's on slides or your website, or like there's so many different ways that you're representing your brand in the marketplace. If there's inconsistencies, you're risking kind of diluting that message, you're risking losing credibility and kind of diminishing kind of the value of that brand. Because if there's inconsistent messages out there, people may not even know how to identify what your brand is. So, despite efforts, a lot of companies actually manually try to make sure that their brand is always kind of up to snuff, especially when you think about slides. But there's 99% chance that someone who's doing it manually is going to get something missed, and there's not going to be 100% compliance with the brand.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, you want to reduce mixed messaging as much as possible, which really just isn't. It's not just important in the business world. I think mixed messaging and communication in general can just leave the audience confused. Whether it's like in a movie or something, or maybe a personal relationship. Like, you want to be consistent, right? So that makes sense why you want to focus on being 100% consistent. Along those same lines, like does Present focus primarily on presentations, or does it provide other tools or training as well to help teams communicate better?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I would say that we are a complete full solution. So it's not just slides and it's not the AI and some of the components that I just talked about. We have a plethora of like tools and training to help teams and organizations become better communicators. So we're teaching both the art and science of communication. I guess is the easiest way to put it. So we have something called Zenith Learning Workshops where they're tailored workshops for all skill levels and they cover topics everything from storytelling to visual design, any kind of topic you can think of to try to improve communication. And we include things like hands-on practice, they're interactive sessions, and they're all led by communication and presentation experts. We also have kind of comprehensive courses that are not these live workshops, but you can kind of go in and look at any kind of type of module you can think of to do kind of self learning. And then we could talk about this in a little bit, but we have something called overnight presentations and accelerators. So these would be kind of considered our expert services arm of our business. And this is when you need a little bit of a higher touch kind of I hate to say human in the loop assistance to the AI, but there is an element where sometimes there's a high stakes presentation where you just might need someone to help come in and help you formulate your ideas, which is what our accelerators are, or it's just a matter of kind of the framework of the slides you want, but you want a more kind of expert to come in and do the final touches. So that's what our overnight presentations are.
Okay, yeah, let's put a bookmark there because I definitely want to come back to that. What about integrations with existing tools and platforms? That's a heavily sought after feature because some people, when there's a new platform, new feature, new service that comes along, it's hard to leave the current kind of workflow that people were using, right? So, what is how can Present integrate with other tools people might already be using?
Yeah, we're all familiar with PowerPoint and G Slides and those types of tools. So yeah, absolutely. We have built the product to make sure that we're kind of slotting into your existing workflows and whatever is your preferred environment. So if you were to go into our software today, maybe you're going in and trying to find a very specific slide, you can go in and download it as a PowerPoint, open it in G Slides, etc. So overall, I would say it's very seamless in terms of like your typical tools that you might previously have used for slides or presentations.
Okay, yeah, that's good to hear. What about like upcoming integrations or partnerships? Do you have? I don't want to put you on the spot, but do you have anything to maybe share or announce at this time?
Yeah, we don't have anything to announce. We do have a lot of interesting product development ideas and things on the roadmap. I will say that there are exciting updates, but yeah, nothing I unfortunately can share today.
All right, no worries. I had to ask, well, I want to pivot a little bit more to talk about a pretty neat feature of yours that I learned about while researching your company, and you did allude to it a minute ago, and that was your overnight presentations service. Can you talk more about like what that service is, how it works, and just kind of what kind of impact it's had for clients?
Yeah, totally. So, yeah, I would say we've focused a lot on the software up to this point, but really, I would think of Present as a holistic solution that is going to meet all of your end to end enterprise business communication needs. And I think the simplest way to think about it is the software is kind of the do it yourself option. And then our overnight presentations is like a do it for you option. So how it works really is it's a simple three-step process. If you have a set of slides that you want to get just a little bit more snazzed up, just a little bit more of a human touch, you can submit that deck into our platform. You send it by 5:30 p.m. Pacific time with draft files, some instructions that you think are going to be relevant for the designers. Our experts then overnight combine business insights, visual design, data science, all of the things you can think of, and then they craft your presentation while you're asleep. And then by 9:30 a.m. PST the next day, business day, you have a polished, ready to use presentation delivered to your library.
I love that. Yeah. So when you're off the clock, you're sleeping, you're maybe enjoying a cocktail or something. There's like a team of people, digital agents working away for you.
Totally. Yeah, and we've really found that when we do this for clients, like, not only are people amazed, there's, like, this wow factor, but it boosts people's confidence, it's stress-free from a workflow perspective, it gives them more time to focus on other priorities, and it helps just up-level them to, like, a level of professional excellence that a lot of people seek, but often it's hard to get to, so it's been a really rewarding part of our product, I would say. I mean, so software and services, but I have to call it in particular, the overnight presentations really has helped a lot of clients.
Right. Yeah, I can imagine. And just yeah, the efficiency gains are huge. I think that's one of the things I just really love about AI in particular is just the fact that it frees you up to be able to focus on other needs. I think that's just huge, and I think we're going to see the ramifications of that here in the next. I mean, we already are starting to see that, but here in the next, you know, few months, couple of years, it's going to be pretty interesting to see how that impacts the world. Um, I want to talk about, briefly, you mentioned, so when you're uploading a document or a presentation to this service, you're sort of trusting that it's being sent and analyzed securely without leaking information to the public or wherever. And that's especially true in the business world, right? With dealing with sensitive information. So, can you just touch on how you keep everything safe on the platform?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question. It's probably one of the number one questions we get asked by our new clients. And what I would say is security is at the core of everything we do. So we have a really robust infrastructure that makes sure that our platform is secure. And we have a role based, I'm going to butcher it, but I module, and that just ensures that there's controlled access to everything in the platform. We have also kind of a set of industry standard certifications. So I don't know if you want me to go into the specific numbers, but ISO 27001 and SOC 2 Type 2 certified for confidentiality and privacy, and of course GDPR and CCPA compliant. So security is at the forefront and really important to us, and for the security of our clients and their information.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. I don't need to get into the specifics of the different security aspects you follow, but I do love like hearing just kind of the emphasis of importance you place on security, right? Because I feel like a lot of businesses, it's just too often an afterthought. And I read about different security breaches every day. It seems like so. I always like to include that question. Yeah.
I would say, yeah, like we work with a lot of industries where, I mean, all industries care about security, but biopharma, financial services, there's certain industries we work with where like security really is super, super critical. So it has to be priority number one for our business.
Okay. Yeah. So the other feature of your product that really caught my eye was the communication fingerprints feature. Can you talk about how this works and what are some of the benefits of this?
Yeah, this is probably my favorite feature in the product. And what it is I think a simple way to describe it is basically like a Myers Briggs version of your communication type. And it's one of the ways that we help create personalization. It's personalization at the individual's level. So if you, let's say you go into our platform today, the first thing that you'll do is there'll be a set of prompts where you'll answer, do you like this slide better or this slide? Does this slide resonate better or this slide? And it goes through a series of prompts. And then the output of that is actually your communication type. And the platform is actually collecting your preferences on the back end. So that then if tomorrow your colleague goes in there and says, I'm going to go present to Bo, I'm going to use these set of slides, then the tool will actually automatically change the slides based off of your preferences to make sure that the person that's communicating to you is communicating to you how you like to receive information.
Okay, very cool. Yeah. So having that personalization is really so it makes it kind of take some of the robotic like AI aspect out of the communication wording, I guess, right?
Totally. It's taking that audience empathy piece that we've kind of talked about. Like that's a really important part of being a good communicator is making sure that you understand who the person on the other side of the room wants or how they learn or how they what's going to resonate with them. And I think we often forget that, and I think we've started to forget that more and more with COVID and work from home, and there's so many other elements at play here. But yeah, it's one of the more interesting elements of our product just in terms of making sure that we're going to the individual level of personalization, and obviously a personalization at the company and team level as well. But yeah, it's a great feature.
Very cool. Yeah. Do you have any like specific examples of stories about how a company or team has sort of transformed their presentations with Present? Maybe they've used the fingerprints feature or they've used the overnights service feature. Do you have any, I don't know, particular success stories that come to mind?
Yeah, a couple. I would say that the one I'd probably highlight is with Cisco. So I mentioned we work with all types of industries, but biopharma and tech, I would say, are really where we started. So Cisco, as you know, is a huge tech brand and logo, and we work with a variety of different teams at Cisco, but the main one I'll focus on is their enablement and development team. They face just major issues just in terms of spending excess time on presentations, and more focused on the visuals, and they really were kind of not focusing on the core messaging and storylines. So we worked with one of their senior directors, and as soon as we showed them what Present could do, I think his quote was, we knew what we wanted to say. It took us too long to put it in slides. So the solution is that we stepped in and we helped kind of totally transform that team's approach to how to build presentations. They really work a lot with our story builder features, and then obviously a lot of the other elements within the platform. And the impact has been that they've all improved their communication, they've all improved their storytelling, and it's freed up a lot of delays with designers and agencies that they were previously working with.
Nice. Yeah. I imagine when you sit down to kind of conduct a demo, the product sort of just speaks for itself, you know? I thought this was pretty cool. I read that Present has won the Inc. Magazine Best in Business Award, as well as the award for the Best SaaS Product for PR, Brand Management, and Stakeholder Engagement Award. What do you think stood out about Present to win those awards?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, we're proud of we won a lot of awards in 2024, which is awesome. I think it's probably a combination of things. The first is that we're really kind of facing a communication crisis in this country and I guess maybe world, but it's become more and more evident post COVID, I would say. And I mentioned a little bit, but like work from home culture has changed how people communicate, people being less out in the world, like people are becoming a little bit more insular, and it's really kind of changed the skill set of communication. So our mission as a business is to help create a new generation of communication leaders by providing a platform that is affordable, it's accessible, and it's easy to use. And that's really why I think we're winning many of these awards. So I guess that's part one. Part two is that the product that our team has built is incredibly impressive, and we mentioned some of the unique elements of it, but those specialized presentation models I alluded to, and really how we're thinking about making sure that we're creating a product that is customized and specific to the needs rather than like this generic LLM. That I think is really kind of pushing us out into the forefront just in terms of the AI space.
Yeah, that's really cool. Thanks for sharing that. Now, as we come down to our last couple of questions, I just want to sort of look ahead at the future and talk about what's in store for Present. What emerging trends do you believe will have the biggest impact on your industry? Let's say the next few years, if that's even possible to sort of predict. I know things are changing so fast.
Yeah, things are moving rapidly. I would say, I mean, yeah, I keep mentioning it, but this kind of non-generic LLM take, but making AI more personalized. I think AI-driven personalization is at its peak right now, and advanced AI tools will enable hyper-personalized content. And that's going to need to be tailored to the individual audience preferences, making communication more engaging and effective. So I think the more customized and the more bespoke these AI tools can become, the more impactful they're going to be. So I think that's one trend. I do think that there's going to be an increased importance of data driven storytelling. So currently companies that are excelling in personalization through data, they generate 40% more revenue. So data storytelling is going to be important, but if they don't have the tool to make sure that they do that, obviously that's where we come in. And then the final trend I would say is like short form communication. So we all have kind of lost attention spans. It's really hard to focus more than 5 minutes, I would say. Like we're all in Zoom meetings all the time, those types of things. So concise, impactful, visually engaging communication is going to be really important and probably will dominate in terms of importance in the next couple of years.
Hmm. Yeah, I think those are all great points. I think the personalization is so important because I feel like when I go to LinkedIn or I mean really anywhere online nowadays, you can just see kind of the use of AI. It comes through so kind of glaringly obvious in a lot of cases. And that takes away the personal aspect and it makes me like realize this person didn't write this post. This person isn't actually present and like I can't really relate to them as well. So I think, yeah, being able to just kind of keep hammering down the personalization aspect is going to be a big problem and a big thing to solve in the coming months and years.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I can relate to that point. I'm sure so many people can when you go and you're like, AI definitely wrote that. Like this is not a
Yeah.
authentic piece of content. You're like that blog post is not written by a human. Yeah, so I think we definitely need to focus on making sure that we use AI, but we use it in terms we also have a human in the loop element to it. It's going to be really important to get that personalization.
Very, very true. Before I let you go, how can listeners learn more about Present and just get in touch with you and your team?
Yeah, we would all love to talk to all of you. So, yeah, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm very accessible. My name is very unique, Maeva Riley. But yeah, in terms of just coming and learning more about Present, you're more than welcome to go to Prezent AI. Very, very simple. Present is with a Z, though, not with an S. And we would love to chat with you. And we were working with all kinds of clients. But yeah, it's moving rapidly. And yeah, we're excited to make better communicators and make communication more accessible to others.
Awesome. That's Present AI, present with a Z. Awesome. Well, thank you, Maeva Riley. That's Maeva Riley, VP of Marketing for Present. I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down and talk with us.
Yeah, thanks for your time. Have a good rest of your day.
Thanks. Thank you all for listening to the SourceForge podcast. I'm your host, Bo Hamilton. Make sure to subscribe to stay up to date with all of our upcoming B2B software related podcasts. I will talk to you in the next one.